So this race was no joke, the best race I've ever had on iRacing. And I'm like not even sugarcoating that at all. I seriously mean that. And just like in my last video, this is the SOF race for Sebring. So, I mean, a bunch of really high iRating drivers all getting together all at once to race in the same lobby. The SOF of this lobby is 5,000 iRating. And if you couldn't tell, that's really high, but we're going to start off in qualifying. A lot of pressure on this qualifying because literally like multiple 9K drivers, a bunch of 8Ks, a bunch of 7K drivers in this lobby, and here I am, a mere 5K mortal, just driving qualifying, hoping that I'm even close to being in the top 5. I'm literally car 17 on the grid, and if you didn't know, iRacing puts your car number in place of how far down along the iRating charts you are, according to everybody else. So I'm the 17th highest iRating driver in this lobby as a 5K iRating driver. It would be a miracle if I get onto the top step of the podium. But let's go into qualifying. I'm going to go really in depth in this one. Going into turn 1, braking just right next to the wall. There's not really a braking marker for that. It also depends a lot on the wind. But getting really close to the inside wall and just dealing with the understeer. There's a lot of understeer through that corner and a lot of bumps. Going through turn 3, braking at the 3 cone and just turning it in using all of that trail braking, and through turn 5, really smooth on the throttle through that corner. Very easy to lose traction on the rear end, but it looks like we did it pretty perfectly. Heading towards the hairpin, major braking zone, pretty sure the biggest braking zone on the entire track, so it's easy to mess up here. Micro locking the rears, but we get it done anyway. Going through the apex, getting on throttle really smoothly because we are at a really low speed, so it's hard to get that traction that you want off the line. But we're heading towards turn 10 now. One of my favorite corners on the entire track, just because it feels so nice when you hook it up. And on this lap, it looks like we hooked it up pretty well. Braking at just after the 3 cone, getting on throttle really smoothly, just like turn 5, and it feels so nice when you hook that corner up. It just steers, the throttle basically steers for you. Going through tower corner, all the way on the limit, very close to the limit through there. The same thing, you want to be very smooth on throttle because any more throttle than you need, you're literally just going to start sliding. And you don't want that, especially in quali. That's just lost time. Going through the Le Mans section now, I just recently actually got this down, and this is a perfect example of how to properly do it and be as quick as you can through there, using all of that curb on the left-hander, literally straddling over it to make sure we turn all the way to the left, going out of that last corner of the section, and looked perfect. Right now, this lap is honestly looking like it at least might be a top 5 for me. Going through Sunset, we just need to not fuck this up, and looks pretty solid. Really easy not to fuck up Sunset. Looked pretty solid. Could have definitely gone faster. Could have opened it up a little bit more to get a better exit, but I'll take it. Going across the line for a solid P6. I'm honestly really happy about that position starting out because I could just stick behind people, just kind of leech off their slipstream and hopefully try to make something happen at the end of the race if I have enough pace. But we'll just see how that goes later. But for right now, I want to show you the grid because, dude, this grid is literally stacked full of every single fast pickup driver on the planet. And just to mention a few, we have Will starting in P1, which is crazy. Congratulations to Will. That is an insane lap that he did. But then we have Luis Glania, Vito Kralls, Ryan Sharpless, Tobias Olsen, Philip Hammer, and Hayden Bramley, just to mention a few. There's plenty more in this lobby. And then on top of that, we have a bunch of members of the Discord, like Max, Renee, Kyle, myself, Ryan, and Will. I mean, this lobby is just cracked out, full of insanely quick pickup drivers, and I'm very nervous to start this race. There's a lot of pressure racing against all of these people. And just look how close the top 5 people's times are. They're literally like, some of them are the same exact lap time. That just goes to show how competitive this race is going to get. It's going to be really fucking close, and it's going to be really fun. So without further ado, let's finally get to the green flag and start this race. You can see I'm nervously looking around the grid at all the faster drivers than me sitting right next to me on the grid. I feel like I don't belong, but the green flag drops and we're underway, and I'm already under attack by Philip Hammer down the inside, heading towards turn 1, and up ahead, Tobias is going to look for a move going into turn 1, diving down the inside of Ryan, so we're 2 by 2 And I'm going to try my best to actually hold the outside of Philip going through turn 3, but it never really works out that well. But luckily up ahead, Ryan and Tobias are still side by side, and Ryan is going to actually go behind Tobias, slowing down Philip next to me. So I'm still able to stay side by side through turn 3. And as long as I get a good exit, I could get to the inside of the hairpin before Philip actually gets there. And it looks like I did. I have a run on him going down to the hairpin. But before we get there, we're going to go back to under that bridge because a major incident happens. Going on board with this car right here, he's going to make contact, kind of try to tuck his nose down the inside of turn 3 where it shouldn't be, and all hell just breaks loose. Cars everywhere, and this guy just completely fucking slams into Hayden Bramley's front end, and that Hayden's race is definitely over after that. He's not going to have a front bumper. But going back on board with me into the hairpin, we're fully ahead of Philip behind us, so now we're all single file. I've slotted into P6 again behind Ryan. We're basically in the order we were at the start of the race, except Ryan and Tobias switched spots, and we have a gap forming between me and Ryan, between me and that lead pack. Not a huge gap, but in a race like this where the times are very close and you always have to be on the limit, a tiny gap is never something you want. You always want to be literally bumper to bumper with the pack you're in, or any mistake you make is just going to completely get you out of the slipstream. So right now, even though I'm only 4/10 behind Ryan, it doesn't feel safe to me, and I need to do some work to actually catch back up to him and make sure I'm solidified to stay in this pack. And we also have Philip behind us, and at this point, I was thinking he probably has more pace than me, and I don't want to risk falling back to him and letting him take my P6 from me. But we're going to skip ahead to later in the race because it does stay in this order for pretty much the rest of that lap. And we're going to go on to lap number 2. We're going to go on board with Luis, who is trailing behind Will, probably about to battle going into the hairpin. And Will makes a pretty major mistake on the exit of turn 5, sliding out, losing a lot of time to Luis. Luis has a run now, and Luis is not gonna settle for the outside. He goes for the inside, even though it didn't look that open. Will opens it up for him anyway, allows him down the inside, and I'm pretty sure he just did that on purpose because he doesn't want to fight too much, and he's just focusing on his own race and his pace, not really position. Going on board with Ryan right up ahead of us, going into the hairpin, he's gonna lock up and almost make contact with Tobias, and I mean, it was really good avoidance, making sure not to hit him in the back when he was locking up, going deep. And yeah, that gave us a free position up into P5 now, one position up from the beginning of this race. And if you look ahead, look at that train of cars in the lead pack. That's just crazy. Like this is the racing you get when you have top split SOF races, just bumper to bumper traffic going through every corner, and it's so satisfying to be a part of. Just watching them go through the corners bumper to bumper like that, and no mistakes. They all trust each other to brake at the right points, not rear end each other. It's just, I don't know. It's an amazing sight to see. It's the same thing going through Le Mans now, and we're skipping to lap 3, and we're going to go on board with Vito right behind Will, who is in second place. Vito is in third, and they're heading towards Sunset, and Vito is peeking his nose down the inside of Sunset, and Will, again, is not going to defend it, just going to allow him to have the inside, not trying to fight too hard. Still really early in the race. Will's going to make a tiny bit of contact while tucking behind Vito. Nothing major. Will just wanted to make sure he got right back behind him as soon as possible to make sure that Tobias behind didn't gain any extra time from Will being on the outside of Vito going through Sunset. But we're going on to lap number 4 now. We're going to stick on board with Will, trailing behind Vito. But going into turn 3, we're going to go on the chase cam, and he's going to dip his tires into the grass, lock up, and go deep into the corner, allowing us through. And now we're up into P4 behind Tobias and the rest of the pack. We've made 2 free positions up this race, and we haven't had to battle yet, but just wait until later in the race because there is a fuck ton of battling. And Will behind me is, at this point in the week, and at least during this race, we were very similar pace, and in the voice chat we were in, he was saying that he's just going to push me any chance he can get so we can keep up with this pack up ahead, because there is a pretty significant gap at this point to Tobias. And as much as I'm really not worried that there's a gap up ahead, just because if they start fighting, which they eventually will start fighting at some point in this race, they will come back to me and I will be able to keep up with them just because they're fighting and slowing down. But we're going to skip ahead to lap number 6, and I'm going to bring you on board with me for the entire lap because this was my fastest lap of the race, and it was a really fucking fast lap, and mostly because I had slipstream, but also, like, I don't know, I was, like, really locked in during this race purely because of the people I was driving against. I was feeling the pressure from the people I was driving against, but it almost made me faster for some reason, and I don't know why, but it did, and it felt really, really good. Hooking up that first whole sector really well. We caught up to them going all the way to turn 5, and then it looks like I lost a bit of time going down the straight just because of the slipstream, and they are pushing up ahead. P1 and P2 are pushing each other, and they have been ever since they overtook Will. Going through the hairpin, hooking it up pretty well, getting on the power at the perfect amount of time, just easing onto that power and applying it very smoothly. Looking ahead, P1 and P2 are going side by side, and it looks like Vito just overtook Luis for the lead of the race, and I don't know if they did that on purpose just to like as a strategy to push each other better, but it does look like they did, because going through tower, it looks like Luis behind is not really, he's not looking up the inside of Vito, but he is going to the inside line just to cover off Tobias from overtaking into tower corner. But even with that little battle just in one corner, you could see how much more I actually caught them up ahead, which is exactly what I was talking about before. As soon as they start battling, I have enough pace to catch up to them and just stick right back to their bumper, and which that is exactly why I'm not worried, especially now because we're going onto the back straight and up ahead of Tobias. Luis is just going to hard defend towards Sunset, making sure he covers off that P1, P2 position. Doesn't want Tobias to get involved with Luis and Vito, because they are just trying to push each other to stay in the lead of this race. And I mean, I like the fact that he defended, because it's going to help me out going on to the back, onto the pit straight now, heading on to lap number 7. I am within striking distance of Tobias at this point in the race, and I mean, there's no point in not taking the opportunity to try to overtake him. If I barely have enough pace to keep up with him, I might as well try to overtake him while I can. And going towards turn 3, I peek down the inside, he covers it off, so I'm going to opt for the outside, and obviously it's not going to work. He's going to brake late enough to where I can't go around the outside, but we're heading towards turn 5, and I can only hope for a really good run, and it looks like I didn't really get anything special, and we're right back to being tucked behind Tobias. But it doesn't matter, because this is the exact moment in this race where the entire trajectory of the race changes for me. Like, everything is going to change because of this one mistake by Tobias. Going in the hairpin, he goes really wide, allowing me down the inside, and we're going to be side by side heading towards turn 10. And all I'm thinking right now is I know that Tobias is a skilled enough driver to stick it around the outside of this corner, because this is a really easy corner to go around the outside of. So he brakes really late, goes around the outside, and does exactly what I was thinking, going through the double left. We're going to stay too wide, and my nose is just barely alongside him, and he acts like I'm not there, and he's going to go off track, and he's going to be headed straight towards the wall in the grass, and he can't slow down fast enough, and he's in the wall, dropping down the order. And I mean, that was just crazy. This race went from very smooth sailing to completely flipping on its head. And we're gonna look at a replay, looking at the rear chase cam of Tobias's car. You could see he just nudges me wide. It's a simple mistake to make, especially if you don't have a crew chief, or I mean, maybe he was just assuming that I was going to back out. But there's no reason for me to back out in this corner, just because it's flat out. And if I'm side by side with you, I'm side by side with you, and that's that. He got the shitty end of the stick, and I'm still on track. By some miracle of God, I don't know how, but I am still on track, and we settled behind Will, and we're up into P4 now. Will promoted into P3, so he actually got really lucky with that incident happening. But if you look ahead of Will, he has a pretty big gap to start making up to Vito and Luis, and they've been pushing this entire race, and now they have all the more reason to keep pushing, just to make sure that Will doesn't catch up with them. But we have bigger problems than to worry about them, because right behind us is Philip Hammer, and I mean, he's obviously probably going to make a move into Sunset, but a trick I normally like doing going into Sunset when you're trying to defend is to not defend at all, because normally they go really narrow and you could just get a really easy switchback on the exit of the corner, which is exactly what we do. The only bad part about that is you have the outside for turn 1, but I'm not really worried. Going on to lap number 8, I have a plan that I'm going to try to stick to. I'm going to go around the outside of turn 1, brake later than him, and try to use as much of the track as possible, squeeze him right to that wall, and fuck it, just use the tactical off track to make sure I get that overspeed into turn 3, and we actually pulled it off. I am very surprised that it worked, but it worked, and I'm not going to complain. And now I'm going to try to do everything I can to stay in front of Philip, which is going to be a pretty hard task, because he is the highest iRating driver in this entire lobby. But I mean, if I start battling with Philip, I honestly am not gonna complain, because Philip is like one of the best people to battle with. He is the cleanest driver. He's the most consistent driver. He actually gives people room when they take it through a corner. And it's always a pleasure racing against him. I don't want to glaze him too much because he is my competitor right now. I am trying to keep a position from him, but yeah, just wanted to point that out. We're going on to the penultimate lap now, and I'm just going to let you lock in and watch this because this battle is crazy.
As Philip Hammer, meanwhile, looks up the inside. Briefly, Latriciano goes deep. Hammer's done exactly what he needs to do. He sights the American into a snake, and the German driver now is going to try and look to take the place. He does initially, but now, will it all explode? Will we see a big battle down to Agenda being corner? We are, as Hammer here goes defensive. Latriciano looks around the outside immediately. You can see everyone else is trying to follow on that outside line. Under braking into Agenda being bent. Well, Hammer right now just holds that inside as fiercely as humanly possible. But Latriciano goes to the switch back here. Hammer into the middle of the road. Over to the inside he goes. And here comes Sharpless as well behind. But Latriciano trying to go around the outside. But he's going to be on the inside for 4. That's going to put him on the outside of 5. Hammer right now just needs to hold his line. Just use all the tools at his disposal. And does exactly that. Back to the front of the field. Well, this is where Lewis Garnier has been very strong over the last couple of laps. But he's nowhere near close enough this time. Is he going to go for the send into the hairpin? If so, that's going to come from quite far back. And he opts not to. I think he plays it safe. William Rasmussen is there with him. Meanwhile, Hammer going defensive. It's 2 by 2. It's not Noah's Ark. It's Porsche Cup or the equivalent. And as they come out of turn number 7 and up towards turn number 10, right now Hammer and Latriciano are fighting 2 wide. Sharpless and Revilla are doing the same now over 6th place behind. So it's getting very close. And well, nobody is giving in yet. And will we see more of what happened earlier on between Latriciano and Olsen repeat here? Well, he's going to go for it as Latriciano. He's going to do it a second time. Outside to inside here. Hammer on the outside. Does he back off? He does what Olsen did. And in the end, Hammer stays there. He shows you can go 2 wide through there. And in towards turn number 30. He's on the inside. It's a squeeze. Latriciano's there. Contact. There's contact between them. And Latriciano survives it. Hammer held straight.
So yeah, insane battle. I mean, obviously the incident just happened. We're going to go over it. Philip goes through tower, barely makes contact with that curb, and I think that bounced him out just wide enough to make contact with me on the outside. Really unfortunate, but honestly, I'm not even that mad about it because that battle was really, really fun. Like, extremely fun. And I mean, like I was saying before, always fun to race against Philip. And we're going to stay on board with him for the rest of the race because things get really, really weird going around or after sunset. So on board with Philip going towards sunset, right on Ryan's ass. He fell behind him because of that incident, but he's looking to make the move on him again, trying to get back into the position he already was in. Going around the outside of sunset won't work, but maybe try to get the switchback. But he tries to stick it around the outside, and it might work. He tries to get the run, and I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know what just happened, to be honest. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know if what I'm gonna say is right, but I think what happened was Philip was on the wall trying to get the side draft of Ryan, and he kind of came over too much and made contact and spun him out. That's the only explanation I know that I can think of. It was a very, very close finish between Ryan and that one other guy, Oscar, and you're gonna see that in slow-mo right here. Just barely, dude. Literally just the closest finish in P Cup history. I'm just kidding, it's not. But it's funny that it happened that way. It was such a close finish happening because he got spun out. And we're going to be rounding sunset right after they get through. And this is my view of that incident. Really close. Not really close, but we avoided it. And settling for P8. I mean, like I said, I'm not even close to being mad about the incident just because this race was so much fun. I went into it under so much pressure, and then I come out of it having the best battle of my life. Philip was also streaming on Twitch, and he apologized on stream.
Ja, Mini-Kontakt, ne? Aber my bad, yeah, sorry.
But he never explained what happened between him and Ryan going up to the line. So Philip, if you're watching this video, feel free to comment and tell me and everybody else what that was about, because I still don't know exactly. But for the rest of you, thank you for watching, and I love you.